So how is everybody? Welcome back again for another episode of my YouTube channel. So we are out here to do another video tutorial on knot tying skills and making tarp shelter configurations. So stick around. And we have just arrived at the old campsite. Okay, so I know some of you might be asking, why do we have to learn all of these camping knots when we can just simply make use of the knots that we have learned since childhood and camp. So I'm not saying that you cannot do all these camping tricks without learning all of these knots, but being able to learn and know a few camping knots will allow you to become more efficient on your ropes and also to become a much more effective outdoorsman out here in the wilderness. So for this episode, we are going to demonstrate and share with you guys quite a few number of camping knots. So unlike the past few episodes where we have condensed it to like 4 or 5 camping knots, this time we're going to learn and share with you at least, if not 12 or 15 camping knots for this episode. So without further ado, let's start with our knot number 1. So I'll be using a larger piece of rope this time for better visual. Okay, so before anything else, so I also would like to point out that the one I am holding on my dominant hand is my working end, and the rest of the line we shall call it the running end or standing end. We are going to start with a few hitches and anchoring knots, and this knot is called the clove hitch. So to make the clove hitch, wrap this around your anchor point 2 times. Make sure the second wrap is on top of the first, creating an X. Okay, and once you have that X, okay, pass your working end right through that X vertically, I mean horizontally, like so. And as simple as that, you now have your clove hitch. Okay, to add more security, simply place a security knot, in this case a single overhand knot. Okay, you want to put the security knot as close to the knot itself, and this one is for the close application. Okay, meaning your anchor point is fixed or close, but for the open application of the clove hitch, you simply do it like this. Okay, so first you make an overhand loop. This is an overhand loop. This is an underhand. Okay, you make 2 overhand loops like so. Then you place that second loop behind that first loop. Okay, and you can insert this on your pole or anchor point. Okay, this one is for the open application, like so. Okay, our second knot is called the cow hitch, or sometimes referred to as lark's head or girth hitch. Okay, so to make the girth hitch, you simply wrap your rope around your tree. Okay, so your working end coming back around, creating a bite. Okay, this one is referred to as a bite, and passing through where your standing end goes, like so. Okay, so this is the cow hitch or girth hitch. Again, to add a security knot, simply make an overhand knot right here. And for the open application, is also quite easy. Okay, first you make an overhand loop and a second loop, but this time an underhand, like so, and then you fold these loops like that, and now you have your cow hitch for open application. So for our third knot, this knot is called the Siberian hitch knot. So to make our Siberian hitch knot, okay, position your palm like this, then make a loop wrapping your palm like so, and then pass your palm together with the loop on the other side of this rope like this, and then make a bite, insert this bite onto that loop, and when you start pulling here, notice this figure of 8 like this, and that's how you know that you have made a proper Siberian hitch knot. Okay, the nice thing about this knot is that this already has a slippery hitch on this. Okay, once you pull this slippery hitch or this tag end, it will simply undo all of this knot like so. So there's a few more anchoring knots, and this time we are going to demonstrate the Marline spike hitch. Okay, so to make the Marline spike hitch, it's just simple. So you make a loop like this, then you bend that loop downwards, then pick this line, creating a pocket. Okay, then you can insert this line on here, and as easy as that, you already have your Marline spike hitch. Okay, you can use this knot if you want to make a handle, so you can pull something heavy like maybe a log or anything that you can use this for an application. You can also do something like creating two Marline spike hitches like so, and if you see the application, okay, you can use this on rope ladders or anything that you might need a Marline spike hitch for. So I started with the Marline spike hitch because I want to show to you guys that using the Marline spike hitch, we can actually create our our next knot, which is the bowline knot. Okay, so there are lots and lots of ways you can tie a bowline knot, but if you're going to utilize the Marline spike hitch like so, then wrap this around your anchor point, then on this pocket insert your working end from bottom to top like so, and when you start pulling here, okay, it's going to create that bow line right there. Okay, let's do it on this larger piece of trunk. Okay, so again, Marline spike hitch, make a pocket, then wrap this around your tree, then from from bottom to top, insert your working end, and once you start pulling here, okay, it's going to create that bow line. Okay, as simple as that. Okay, so you can also add a security knot right here. Let's just make this line a little bit longer. Okay, so to add a security knot, you can simply use a simple overhand knot. Okay, and there you have it, your bow line, by starting with the Marline spike hitch. Okay, and if you don't want to use the Marline spike hitch, you can simply do it like this. Okay, start by making a loop. Okay, not too big, just enough where your rope can pass through it. Okay, this is where most of the people make their mistake. So they like to make their loops bigger. Okay, and then when they start making that second loop, they already start to get confused, which is the main loop and which is the knot. Okay, by simply making that loop smaller, okay, that indicates that this is your actual knot right here, like this. Then wrap this around your anchor point. Then this line or your working end passes through that loop from the back, like so. And then coming around this standing end from the back, going to the front, and then going back to that small loop once more, like so. And as easy as that, you already have your bow line. Again, smaller loop, then the bigger loop. This should be the main loop, and this is the knot. Okay, coming from the back, like so. This is where people make mistakes, because every time you do this, they want to pull on this a little bit farther, and they already start to lose that loop right there. Okay, so you want to maintain that loop. Okay, smaller loop and bigger loop. Okay, let's just anchor that one, and then your working end passing on the back of the standing end, back to front, and then coming back to that smaller loop once more. And again, as easy as that, you have your bow line. If you want to add a security knot, you can also do so, just like that. Okay, this is another variation of the bow line that I find quite useful at camp. So I've done this several times, especially when you want to anchor your rope into two different objects, and maybe you want to tie two tarps together and put one single peg or stake, or maybe you want to anchor a line on two different anchor points at the same time. So this is the Portuguese bow line. You just simply wrap your whole line where you can finally reach it around those two anchor points. Okay, then from here you pull this middle line right here, like so, creating a bite on the center, and on your standing end you can start by creating a loop. Okay, then pass that loop on there, going to your standing end, again creating a marline spike hitch right here, and then this working end passes through there, going back. Okay, and once you start pulling here, then you already have created the Portuguese bow line. Okay, I hope you can see it clearly, because here we are demonstrating it on two different anchor points. One is a larger piece of tree and the other one is just a pole. And again, you can add a security knot if you'd like, but for camping applications it's not necessary. Okay, but you see the application already. Okay, you can use this if you want to tie two anchor points with just a single line. Okay, maybe two tarp tie outs with just one rope. Okay, so that is the Portuguese bow line. So let's do that one more time. Okay, so wrap this around your two anchor points. Okay, and then on here create an overhand loop, like so. Okay, and pass this from the back going to the front, creating a marline spike hitch with this pocket right here. Okay, and then pass this your working end going through there, coming back around, and then when you start pulling here, you already have your Portuguese bowline. Okay. Okay, again, these are all simply starting with the anchoring knots. Okay, you want to use these knots if you want to anchor a ridge line, if you want to anchor a simply a clothesline, or maybe something that you can use to rappel on, a safety line maybe. Okay, so for our next knot, so one of the most popular knots that is being utilized or used in the outdoors is the figure of 8 knot. Okay, so to start with the figure of 8 is simply just make a bite. Okay, and from that bite make 2 turns, 1 2, then the standing end, I mean your working end, goes from back to front. Then you already have your figure of 8. But this figure of 8 only serves as a stopper knot, just an indicator. But for camping, we want to make use of the figure of 8 on a bite. Okay, and if you want to make the figure of 8 on a bite, okay, first you make a bite twice as long, like so, then bend that bite one more time. Okay, creating a double bite already. Okay, and from that center point, once again you make 2 turns, 1 2. Okay, and this loop goes from back to front, like so. Okay, we already have that figure of 8, but we want to make sure that none of the lines are entangled with each other. So let's just cinch it down, making sure none of our lines are entangled with each other. So to indicate a good figure of 8, so you can count your ropes. That's 1 2 1 2 and 1 2. Same on the other side. Okay, make sure none of those lines are entangled with each other. Okay, so again, using this as an anchoring knot for our shelter. So another useful anchoring knot is the timber hitch. So to tie the timber hitch, so just wrap your rope on your anchor point, then make a loop like so. Then on your working end, this line, wrap this on itself like so, making at least 3 to 4 wraps. Then cinch that down. Okay, so as easy as that, you have created a timber hitch. As long as there is weight or tension on this line, these 3 or 4 wraps right here will lock in on itself. Okay, and if you start to lose tension, this line will also undo itself. So not applicable if you want to use this as a safety line, but it is practical if you want to use this for camping, like maybe pitching a hammock or anchor a ridge line or tent, or simply a clothesline. So again, just make a loop like so, then wrap your working end onto itself 3 or 4 or 5 times. The more wraps you make, the safer it is. Okay, and then just spread these wraps around that tree trunk like so. Okay, so that's how you tie the timber hitch. Okay, again, if tension or weight is loose, the line will also unravel itself. Okay, another good use for this is if you want to carry timbers or logs or firewood that you have gathered around camp, then you can just simply bundle it into one piece and tie a timber hitch like so. Okay, or if you want to pull a log or a big tree trunk or a fallen tree, you can also make use of this one, alpine butterfly loop. Okay, this is also a useful knot that you can use at camp. Okay, so to make the alpine butterfly loop or the alpine butterfly knot, okay, you just position your palm like this. Okay, then make 3 wraps, 1, 2, 3. Okay, make sure those wraps are not too tight. Okay, then next step is to pull this middle line from underneath like so, and then uh, place this underneath these 2 lines once more, going through your whole palm like this. Okay, then after you cinch that down, it will start to look like this. Okay, so that's how you tie the alpine butterfly loop or knot. Okay, what are the applications? Okay, you can use this to hang a camping lantern or whatever you want to use it for. You can use this to anchor a safety line, and if you want to retrieve that line after, then you just simply pull this other line right here. So those are one of the few uses, practical uses of the alpine butterfly loop. Okay, another method of tying the alpine butterfly loop. Okay, so again, the beauty of these knots is regardless to how much tension or weight is applied on this line, you can simply unravel this by flipping the weak points. So in this case, these are its weak points. So as easy as that. Okay, another way of tying it is you just create a bite, then make 2 turns, then bend it down like so, creating a pretzel shape. See how that pretzel shape is being created? And you see this loop right here, you want this part to go into that loop. Okay, after shoving it in, and you have created the same alpine butterfly loop. Again, simply make a bite, then make 2 turns, then bend that down forward, creating a pretzel. Once you have that pretzel, insert this part onto that loop, then you have your alpine butterfly loop. There are tons of ways on how to tie this one, but let's just use 2 methods of tying it. So for our next knot, this is used if you want to connect 2 lines or 2 ropes with the same diameter. Okay, this knot is called the fisherman's knot. And to make the fisherman's knot, you just simply make these 2 lines right next to each other, then hold this center part of the lines. Okay, and use your finger as a guide. Okay, wrap this line first, pick this part of the working end, wrap this around your finger twice, creating an X like so. And if you already have that X, put your working end where your finger is also going. Okay, again like this, then hold the center part of those lines, then make use of your finger as a guide, Then pick this line, wrap this around your finger twice, creating again an X, and then pull your finger out of those two wraps, then replace it with the working end, like so. Okay, it should look like this. So X on this side, then two lines on the back side. Okay, and you do the same thing on this other side, simply by turning this rope right here. Okay, so again, hold the center line. Okay, use your index finger as a guide, make two wraps creating an X, then pull that finger, replace that with your working end, like so. So again, you have an X here and two lines on the back. Okay, once you start pulling, it should look like this. So two X's, then four lines on the back side. Okay, again, this is used if you want to connect two lines or two ropes of the same diameter. Okay, the only disadvantage with this knot is once weight or tension is being applied, especially if it's a person, it will be next to impossible to undo this knot. Okay, this is also considered as a permanent knot. That is why you want to use this if you want to create like leg loops or mini loops that you can use for camping or for shelter making. Okay, you can also adjust this as long as no weight or tension is being applied. So let's do that one more time. Again, place the two ropes right next to each other and hold that center line. Use your index finger as a guide, make two wraps, and then replace this where your index finger went, and do the same on the back side, on the other side. Then use your finger as a guide, make two wraps creating an X, then pull that finger, replace that with your working end. It should look like this. Okay, so this knot is called the fisherman's knot. So this time we want to connect two ropes of different diameters. Okay, one is thicker, one is much thinner. Okay, this knot is called sheet bend. Okay, so to make the sheet bend is simply on your larger piece of rope, you just make a bite like so, and then on your smaller rope, okay, you pass this onto that bite, coming from the back going to the front. Okay, you can also use the finger method with this one. Okay, use your finger as a guide like so, then passing on the back both of those two lines, then coming back again to the front by simply going where your index finger is coming from. Okay, like so. And this is what we refer to as the sheet bend. So to make it more secure, you can also do a double sheet bend simply by repeating your turns. So like this. So coming from the back, use your finger as a guide, going to those two lines from the back, then passing here where your finger went. Okay, but this time make two wraps going to that same loop right there. Okay, and once you cinch that down, okay, this is how it should look like. Okay, that is the double sheet bend knot right there. Again, if you want to connect two lines of different diameter, you can simply use this knot. Okay? Again, the beauty of these knots is simply you can easily undo it like so, regardless to how much weight or tension is being applied on both lines. Okay, this time we shall now proceed to the tensioning knots. Okay, this is what we commonly use if we want to create tension on a line. Simply you can apply this on tarp tie out points or tents. Okay, so our first tensioning knot is the most common tensioning knot. We also refer to this as the taut line hitch. Okay, so just wrap this around your anchor point like so. Can be an anchor point like a tree, or you can also use this to anchor on stakes or pegs, or maybe around rocks, and create a tension on that line. Okay, so to make the taut line hitch, so you make a loop like so, then on your working end wrap this on your standing end twice. That's one, two, and then on the outside part of that loop make one wrap. Okay, so that's three like so. So creating a barrel, some type of barrel like that. Okay, and you can move this going to that tree if you want to lose tension, and you can also move this going towards your standing end if you want to create tension on this line like so. Okay, so this knot is an adjustable knot, but it has a grip so it can maintain that tension. Okay, this is much more effective if you're going to use this on paracords or a smaller piece of rope. So again, so that's loosening it up, then tightening it. So this, let's do that one more time. Again, create a loop, then wrap this on your standing end on the inside part of that loop twice. That's one, two, and on the outside part make one wrap like so. It should look like this. Okay, so loosen, tighten, then loosen. Okay, the disadvantage of this knot is let's just say you have all of this remaining slack. Okay, let's just say you have a line that is quite longer, and by making these wraps it would be too stressful and too much of a task because you have that remaining slack of your rope right there. Okay, I mean it's doable, but it simply takes too much time and effort. So that is why we are going to learn the next knot, which is ideal for this type of situations. Okay, this tensioning knot is what we refer to as the Farrimond friction hitch. Okay, so to make the Farrimond on your working end, okay, let's just say for example you have a line that has too much slack or a longer piece of rope. So instead of pulling on this whole line right here, right where your loop has ended, just simply make, okay, an underhand loop. So underhand, this is overhand. Okay, now let's make an underhand loop. Okay, and wrap this loop around your standing end, maybe twice or three times. Okay, that's one, two, and 3. You can make something better using a paracord, but for this demonstration and for you guys to see better, I am using a 9, I think this is a 10 mm rope. Okay, so that's the third wrap, creating that small loop right there on top, and then on your working end simply create a bite like so. Insert this bite on that small loop, and then you already have your Farimon friction hitch. Okay, again, this is advantageous. This is advantageous for lines that has too much or so much of a remaining slack on your working end. Okay, so this is the Farimon friction hitch. Again, you can use this to lose tension or create tension on your line. And this one also has a better grip than the Tautline hitch because it has much more wraps compared to that first one. Okay, lose or create tension. And the beauty of this knot is that this knot already has a slippery hitch on here. Okay, by pulling on this tag end, okay, you can undo all of this at one single pull. Okay, ready? 3, 2, 1. So let's do that one more time. Again, on your working end, create an underhand loop. Then wrap this loop on your standing end 2 or 3 times. Okay, the more wraps you place here, the better it's going to hold. Okay, and right after that third wrap, you leave a small loop on the middle, and then on your working end, create a bite, insert this on that bite. Then after you cinch that down, it will look like this. So if you want to lose tension or create tension, okay, then if you want to break your camp or shelter, you just simply pull on this tag end right here. For our last knot that we are going to demonstrate is also the very popular trucker's hitch. So let's just transfer to a different location so you guys can see better. So I have already demonstrated this knot a couple of times on my previous camping videos, but for the sake of this episode, so we'll do another trucker's hitch, knot tying on this last camping knot that we are going to use. Okay, so to make the trucker's hitch, just simply again starting with a marline spike hitch. So to make the marline spike hitch, create a loop, then on your line that's going around, okay, again create a loop, then bend that loop, then pick this line that is going on towards your second anchor point like so, creating a slip knot right here, and wrap this line towards your 3 or anchor point, then insert this whole knot or line on this loop. By doing so, we have created here a 3:1 mechanical advantage. So that's 1, 2, 3. So 3 times the amount of force that is being utilized to pull this line. Okay, ensuring a powerful tension on our ridge line like so. Okay, and if you want to secure this line, simply pinch and then do a half hitch. Again, this is just a marline spike hitch and a half hitch. So again, so that's the Marline spike hitch. Create tension like so, then pinch, then secure it with a half hitch. So let's do that one more try. So from here, let's make, so from here, let's create a Marline spike hitch like that. So this is also creating a slip knot. Then wrap this around your second anchor point, then pass this whole line onto that loop, and once you start pulling on this line, okay, you have created a 3:1 mechanical advantage. That's 1, 2, 3, so 3 times the amount of force. Okay, you can also make 2 wraps on this loop. That way it's locking into itself once you start pulling it. See how that locks on there? Then secure it with a half hitch like so. So as easy as this, you have your tracker's hitch. So to undo, as easy as that. Okay, we have lots of variation with the tracker's hitch. We can also make something like this. Okay, so first create a bite, then on this bite make 2 wraps. Make sure the next wrap is on top of the other, and on the upper part twist your line 2 times. Okay, then insert this bite on there. Okay, once you start pulling, it should look like this. Okay, then wrap this line around your second anchor point, then pass this line right here, and you are also once again creating another variation of the tracker's hitch. So let's just secure that with a half hitch like so. So this is what you commonly see being used by truckers or people with pickup vehicles that they want to secure something on their cargo. I think that's about it. So I have lost count how many knots did we demonstrate, but I'm guessing that is somewhere around 12 to 15 knots. It's not really necessary to memorize all of those knots to be able to create a solid shelter if you have your common sense. So you can simply pick any of those anchoring and tensioning knots, maybe about 4 or 5 knots, and as long as you are being practical and use your common sense, you can already start to build your shelter around those 4 or at least 5 knots. But it is a fun thing to learn outside. Learn a few knots and make use of your spare time to practice it, and you'll be a much more versatile outdoorsman, as what I was saying in the first part of this video. So I hope you guys learn something from this, and on the next episode we're going to utilize all of this to make a stable and different types of tarp shelter configurations. So see you around. Thank you for watching.